Hi, gorgeous soul, and welcome to Spiritually Empowered Podcast. This show is your go-to place to learn all about your psychic intuitive gifts, explore and unveil taboo topics, and discover new ways to walk in power on this planet that is undergoing a massive transformation. We each came here with a higher calling. This podcast will catalyze you into yours. I love to simplify and refine ancient mystical teachings and practices, let you in on my most personal revelations and shifts, as well as bring on soul-inspiring guests to support you with embodying your power and saying yes to your destiny today. I am so excited to dive deep with you. Let's begin. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the Spiritually Empowered Podcast. Let's breathe together. Thank you so much for tuning in. Drink in a really deep breath. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you were led here. And if you are a returning listener, I'm so grateful and excited to be with you again. And I always like to begin each conversation, each talk with the breath. Maybe you want to drop your shoulders. Maybe you want to place the hands on your heart or your lap. Taking a moment, taking a breather, come back. If you've wandered off into worry, or if you've wandered off into a different place, the past, the future, come back to the present. And let's do it together. 2 luscious, luxurious breaths in and out. Empty, empty, empty all the air out. Fresh in. Feel the air in your nose. And all of it out. Let it go. Relax your shoulders. And hi from Bali. I am in Ubud right now, taking a soul sabbatical for the month of September in Bali. Why did I come to Bali by myself for the month? Many reasons. And the main reason is I felt a pull. I felt this energy calling me to do something different, to do something out of bounds, so to speak, to step out of the ordinary routines of Ashley, of service, of life, and to go on what the shamans might call a walkabout, where you actually change your brain by expanding your reality and making choices that you don't usually, if ever, make. That's why when people have new experiences, they change in their own thought process around who they believe themselves to be. Our identity, who we believe ourselves to be, is the strongest aspect of the psyche, of this mental understanding of what we're capable of and who we came here to be. And we always act and behave in coherence with who we say ourselves to be. And I learned this from Tony Robbins, that we have a need in our own psychology to be consistent with who we say we are. And one of the most incredible, direct, not always rapid, yet often rapid, but the word I want to use is direct, a direct pathway of expansion and walking towards the unknown, which is where everything you want is. All of your desires are in the unknown because you are reaching into new territories. A way onto that path is to expand your identity, is to do something that you don't normally do. And another amazing teacher, Shaman Durek, says, we all have our favorite coffee mug and we all sleep on the same side of the bed. A lot of us do. And we all do things a certain way and drive to work a certain way. And then we feel this feeling of, fuck, I just want more, or I want different, or I want to change. And it's in the little moments. It's in those little ritualistic habits where we are actually lighting up the brain and our neural pathways in the same way again and again and again. And that's why travel, and that's why doing things differently actually not only in the spiritual sense expands your spirit, it literally also changes your brain. So that's another reason why I'm here, is because I'm reaching for more. I'm hungry for expansion. And I feel a calling to continue moving my feet in a courageous way into the unknown. And I love my rituals, and I love my coffee mugs, and I love sleeping on that side of the bed. It's not like uprooting everything and being a Gemini. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. Geminis can be so fluid, and that is what you're here to teach us. How to move and flow. So my point is not to stop doing all those little things that bring you joy and that coffee mug. My point is not that. My point is maybe you too are wanting change, and an incredible direct pathway to change is in the small moments. The small moments make up your life. So I am in my beautiful villa. This is my 4th accommodation for the month of September. And I'm in the jungle and I'm hearing the sounds, and I'm right by a river. Literally, I can see the river from my villa. And there's geckos, and I'm in the wild rainforest or wetlands, and it's lush and it's jungly, and riding on the back of a scooter and seeing cats and seeing dogs and hearing sounds. And I'm struck with this feeling of belonging. It's the same sky that's shining on us no matter where in the world we are. Come to find out, the Balinese people and the people that I'm surrounded by are all God, are all the same. And I tend to see through the eyes of non-duality as much as I can. This is something I practice, and I unify, and I see the connections between things. And that's also a feminine medicine, because specifically a woman's brain, it lights up left to right, left to right, left to right. So it's the different sides of the brain are in communication, whereas a man's brain, and you can fact check me on this if you want, I haven't researched this, but I learned it somewhere. But a man's brain is like more linear. So my point is, I might be on the complete other side of the world from where I live, and I still am feeling a sense of belonging. I haven't longed for home really once. I felt bits of loneliness, especially in one of the villas I had where I was in Bali on, which is quite remote, and there's not a lot of people there, and it's a small town, and I had this wide open space, and I had this gorgeous view of the Indian Ocean and this expansive pool, and the bathroom was outside, and I just came from a retreat where all the people and security, and we had this little commune, and now I'm in this wild villa where nobody's really around me, and my bathroom is outside, and there's a gecko in my room, and the wide, wild ocean is spilling into my space. So that was an adjustment. And I love that shit. I love putting my feet somewhere else and tasting new environments because it gives me a new experience of myself. So I want to breathe and start to, or continue to fill the room with prayer right now. I want to feel you and where you're at and honor you in your humanity and your divinity. I researched this evening wanting to hear a non-denominational service, and I clicked on something and right away it was like, oh, that doesn't speak to me. That's not really fitting for me right now. And I just heard God say to me, silence. So I just turned everything off, and these words just came into my heart. Be willing to walk alone. And they have such a sensation, or this like, ooh, let me know if you can feel it. Be willing to walk alone. And I felt like I was being asked to speak on that, to share on that. So let's breathe and feel the power in those words. And soften your belly if you can. Soften any gripping in the body. Notice your hands. Notice your toes. Can you let go of these little muscles? If you can let go of the little muscles, you can let go of control in the mind a bit more. It starts in the little things, right? Like changing those little habits or sleeping on a different side of the bed, right? It's those little things that affect us deeply. So when you hear those words, what comes to mind for you? What comes to mind? How does that sit in you? And as we allow there to be a spaciousness, what arises? I don't have a script. I started this podcast sitting up against my bed at midnight with my phone in my hand, recording my voice into my phone. Start anywhere and start now. So let's breathe. Be willing to walk alone. I'm just taking a couple deep breaths and letting the leaves fall, letting this land in you. And notice what you feel. Notice. Open your awareness. This is a really profound practice. Open your awareness. And the practice is, my love, to observe without judgment. To observe without trying to change, fix, heal, or adjust. To expand your capacity to be aware of your internal experience without the desire or the need to change a thing. And let's talk this through. Take what resonates, leave the rest, pocket it for later, or blow it away. 2014, I left a 4-year toxic relationship that really put me through the ringer. And I didn't know who I was, where I was. This is the pit of my darkest nights. And I left his apartment that we were living in together, and I had my ferret, and I got the keys to my own apartment, and I walked in and I shut the fucking door. And I had a newfound strength in my spirit that was stronger than my need to be next to him. I had something waking up in me on a spiritual level that satiated me more than he did. Something was moving in me and giving me strength beyond my patterning. And I was a yes to that. You can be handed an opportunity, and your free will can be a yes or a no or a maybe. I was a yes to my freedom. I was so hungry to get out of my addiction, to get out of my codependency. There is a fire in my spirit. Maybe you feel your own fire. And I wept that day with my dad in the car when I got my keys to my 1-bedroom apartment. And I remember he messaged me something sexual about, if you want to get together. And I looked at that on my phone and I said, never again. And I closed the door. I closed the door and I shut the door and I left. And I said to myself, Ash, I will never leave you again. I will never abandon you again. And my world changed. Not from the outside in, from the inside out. I was changing. And I would see my high school previous friends posting about their sororities and their college fun, and I felt left out. I felt left out. It would be Friday night after Saturday night after Friday night after Saturday night, and I felt left out and I felt lonely and I didn't have people. I left my people and I left the toxicity and I walked away and I shut the door. And I felt pain because of that. But what was more painful was opening the door to where I do not belong. That was more painful. So I decided to endure. I endured the loneliness Friday night after Friday night after Friday night and looking for places to go and looking for friends and where do I go and I have no one. But I had my integrity, and the taste of that integrity is sweeter than following along just because it's easier to do. So I had a fire wake up and I shut the door. And I went into a world of chaotic and miraculous transformation, and I stand on that today. It is the foundation in me. The bones in me are those nights where I chose to sit with what was rising up in me and not run anymore. Because when I closed the door to where I didn't belong, what I did was I opened the door to all of my emotions that I had stuffed down. By closing the door on them, I opened the door on me, and what I realized was a whole reality that I didn't know was in there. I didn't know what was in there. And all my programming and all these years of suffocating my own feelings, things became unnumb. I started to become unnumb. And I woke up to the deepest, darkest pain and fear. And I woke up simultaneously to the most incredible spiritual, satiated fulfillment that I cannot put into words. And I wrote this poem that says, some would call me bipolar. I just call me beautiful. Because my family would say, Ashley, why are you enduring this? Why are you opening up the gates of your chest and digging the fucking poison out? And I would say, because there's poison in there. Because I'm not willing to go on in this life without addressing what's inside of me. And from the outside in, it looked like I was going crazy because I was literally splitting myself open. I wasn't willing to continue the patterns because if I opened that door again and I hadn't adjusted and done psychic surgery on myself, then it doesn't matter who walks through the door. It's going to be the same frickin' story. Different face, same story. So I decided to endure. because something was waking up in me, and I would hear this voice, and I still hear it sometimes. And the voice says this: do you trust me? Do you trust me? And every time, the answer is yes. Even if it's a quiet yes. Even if it's the sound of a mouse, the most quiet little whisper of a yes. It's true. I do trust you. You, who is the unnameable one. I don't walk a religious path. I'm interested in what was here before religion. I'm interested in the God that has no name. I am interested in my faceless face. I am interested in that which goes beyond the brain, because when you call God, God, you've just placed it in a label, and my God doesn't have a label. There's no boxes. There's no limitations. When you study God academically, you run into this beautiful problem. I've done it. I've studied this in school, out of school, academically, with teachers, in poetry, in literature. And we come across this gorgeous problem. What is God? And if you find an answer, it's probably going to be a box. Because the way that the brain works is we define and therefore limit. And that's not bad. It's what we do in the Maya, the illusion of separation, in this 3D reality. The mystical is a bird that you cannot cage. You cannot grasp or contain the spirit. It's like breathing oxygen. It just is. God is so is that you can miss it. Rumi says, let the arrow drop. You have been seeking, hunting, philosophizing. And why is it that when the heart breaks, do we often touch God? Rumi, the wound is where the light enters you. When you shut the door, you open the door at the same time. So what in your life do you need to shut the door on? Not in anger, but in love. Thank you for teaching me. I do not need this lesson anymore. Thank you. And you feel the thank you in your heart. And shut the door. All the way shut. Little by little, I started to see with new eyes. This was probably 2015 now. I started to align and attract opportunities that were right for me. I felt guided to Reiki, a stunning Japanese energy healing modality. I met a friend, which was a thread to another friend. I found what fit me. And you could say perhaps that I only found what fit me when I blew up the shit that didn't. And I had to sit in the emptiness, my love. I didn't jump from one thing to the next. I sat in the loneliness. I endured. And it wasn't all pain. Absolutely not. Why? Because I knew that I was choosing myself, and the bliss in that, nothing can remove from me. That is unshakable bliss. The bliss of being right with your soul, nothing can take from you. I sleep well at night, even when I was transforming and unearthing and splitting myself open and doing this energetic, this spiritual, this psychological surgery. Being supported by others in that journey, I rested well at night because my spirit knew that I was walking back to myself. What do you believe in so deeply that you're willing to go alone? I didn't wait for somebody to go to Bali with me. I didn't wait for anybody to approve. You are given the resources that you need. I know you know this. When it's your time to move your feet. And it's not about rushing. It's about just walking. Walking with courage. You know that definition of courage? When courage is in the room, it's likely that so is fear. When courage is in the room, there is also nervousness or a feeling of taking a risk. So I would love for you to breathe and locate where courage lives in you. First thing that lights up in your mind. Breathe and focus on that place. And as you do, it gets bigger. God, give us the courage to say yes to your calling. Whatever word they use to name the unnameable, God, love, source, spirit, love, the one, whatever it is. Wake us up to the path and to the way that we are destined to walk towards. Let's just breathe. Drop the belly, drop your jaw, let off any pressure that's not yours. And maybe you're listening to this and you're in the unknown, or you're in loss, or you're in a little bit of fear even, or you're just being held in the fucking waiting room. Is there anything that you, my love, are guided to adjust in your reality? Just ask. And if it's yes, make the adjustment. And if it's no, ride the wave. That's the serenity prayer. Give me the clarity to know. If there's something I can shift, show me. Give me the courage to shift it. And if not, give me the peace in my soul to say yes to what is. And to maybe even endure what is. To not escape what is. If you feel lonely, this is the foundation of winged alchemy. Emotional alchemy. Yes, alchemy means transformation. There's a paradox here. Spirituality requires us to hold contrary shit. It's like I pray so deeply and I also say shit and fuck. So it's like I am a unifier. I am a flippin' unifier. And that involves being able to hold polarities. Masculine, feminine, sun, moon, light, dark, beauty, ugly, rageful, graceful, all the flavors. And I'm just touching into this river of all that I am. What an exciting journey. So as you breathe, unify in whatever you feel. Maybe endure it. Why do I say that? Because how you get out is you sit so deep in it that you pop out the other side. Some of you really needed to hear this. Stop trying to get out. Take your energy, take that breath, and descend. This is shamanic medicine. Yes, it's the view from above. Yes, it's the eagle view, the view from the spirit world. And it's the roots of the tree of life. It's deepest down, and it's way high up, like I said. Unifying polarity up and down. Erect in the spiral. This is about unification. This is winged alchemy. And we really want to start by descending. We want strong, deep roots. And this is the allowing of what is. Here's the medicine. Allowing what is on the inside. You cannot get anywhere if you are escaping what is. So you can sit into your being and find God where you are. You are in a moment that can never be repeated again. In this awareness, it's sacred, even if there's grief. Even if you feel alone. You ever felt so happy? I feel this right now about my braids. So I got my hair braided. And I am absolutely in love. This woman just rocked it out. She is stellar. I am in love with my braids. Go find me somewhere on the socials and check out these braids. And I had this feeling, this is so funny. I had this feeling of, man, I'm going to sleep standing up tonight because I don't want to mess these braids up. I don't ever want my hair to be any different. I want to keep them forever. And the fact that I know this is temporary kind of gives me this like sad feeling. You see? That's beautiful. It's stunning. The fragility of life, the ever-changingness of life gives it the sacredness. And this is the feminine current of the downward channel, the roots of the tree of life. Even in Balinese religion and spirituality, the feminine is the embodied essence of God. Whereas the masculine, we all have both, is erect and is reaching up to the heavens. Purusha, upwards, spirit. Whereas Shakti, or this feminine, is in and of the world of matter. This is mother matter. Mother matter is always changing. Mother matter is fragile in that she is temporary. Mother matter, this world is always elusive even. Because how often do you feel the moment just slips through your fingers? So the idea, my darling, is to wake up in the dream and to see that it's all sacred and to fucking be as you are. I love you and I am with you on the journey. And if you are feeling this medicine and you want more and you want to come closer, this is just a taste of what winged alchemy can awaken within you. Then find those links in the show notes because I am about to open up enrollment into a 3-day activation. First it was a 3-day, then it was a 3-week, and now it's back to a 3-day. The point is, this is going to be incredible. It's called You Are the Medicine. If you have a desire to help others, get in this room. If you have a desire to build a personal brand, get in this room. If you have a desire to build a temple, a structure of a business where you can share your gifts and funnel your creative magic to impact the world, get in this room because that's exactly what I have done and am doing. I've built 2 businesses And winged alchemy is the current temple through which I share my gifts with the world. And I know a thing or two about branding and about soulpreneurship. I started this business in 2016. I went full time in 2020, and I'm a little bit in love, a lot in love with this dance of masculine structure. What's your why? What's your mission? What do you do? Why should people hire you? Here are the necessary sacred structures to the business. We cannot miss these. These are the bones of our offerings. And then there's the feminine flow of, channeling, creative potency, the bird that cannot be caged within each of us, the magic. So what you will learn is this holy balance of the practical and the esoteric, the embodiment and the essence or the spirit. So if that tickles your fancy and excites you, I want you to know that by the end of this training, if you give this your all and you show up to the altar of this experience, you're going to have a map to build your business. You're going to have a plan. You're going to have ideas. You're going to have a product suite. You're going to have something to offer the world by the end of this training. So come and join us. The wait list is open now. You're going to get a discount if you join the wait list, and joining the wait list does not lock you into the course, but it will give you access to an early enrollment period. So don't wait, get in that room. And I'm so excited to bring more podcast episodes to you to share more about all of this. So my message today, there was a lot of them. And thank you so much for being here. My message is, you decide. I want you to decide what the message was for you in this episode today. And I would love it even more if you shared your greatest takeaway with me. If you left a review, if you shared this with somebody, thank you so much. That is such a huge part of business growth, is community. And that's what this is over at Winged Alchemy. I'm going to take a breath with you right now just to send all that good energy your way. Thank you for being here. Go check out those links in the show notes so you don't miss a thing about what is coming in the world of Winged Alchemy. I love you, and I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you absolutely loved this episode. And if you did, please remember to leave a review and share some love. I will see you in the next one.